Hello, Denimheads, and welcome to your 18th hangout with the Sons of Selvedge. This is a podcast where a group of friends get together to talk about denim, menswear, and related interests. We aim for this to be a fun and inclusive podcast where you feel like you're hanging out with longtime friends, but be warned, there's a bit of banter, cutting up, and explicit language. So in this episode, it's a discussion topic with a special guest. So we're going to have on Mike and Noriko behind the brand Wild Frontier Goods. It's a Japanese-based brand that makes bags, wallets, belts, clothing, all kinds of beautiful stuff made by hand in Japan. Also, please rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, please follow us on Instagram at Sons of Selvedge Podcast, and message us on Instagram with any questions you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. And of course, we've got a Discord server, so if you're keen to get involved and hang out with us, give us a shout. But thanks everybody for listening in today, and let's jump over to the discussion topic with Mike. Thank you. All right, Denim Heads, let's now jump over to our special guest interview for this episode. Today we're hanging out with Mike from Wild Frontier Goods, an artisan maker from Japan doing all kinds of amazing stuff from leather goods to clothing and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I guess maybe let me pause there, and Mike, maybe you want to give us a quick intro about yourself and your brand.
Yeah. Well, my name is Mike. I was born in America, and I've been living in Japan for like 8 years now. I originally was doing a lot of different styles of art in college, and I decided to come to Japan when I finished school to kind of expand my skill base a little bit, and I ended up staying and never leaving, so here I am. But yeah, I don't know, I work with leather, and we work with a lot of natural dye products and some fabrics, and yeah, I try not to limit myself to one thing or another, but yeah, I guess that's about it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but just to double check that your brand's called Wild Frontier Goods, and maybe if you want to quickly mention where folks can find, I know you've got an online store and your different social media accounts, so maybe give us a quick rundown of where our listeners can discover your brand.
Yeah, you can definitely go to our website, wildfrontiergoods.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Wild Frontier Goods. We also have a tiny little YouTube channel that we just kind of use to geek out on and show some different cool spots around Japan. Yeah, you can also visit us in person if you're ever in Tokyo. So.
Yeah, my main thought of y'all's YouTube channel was like, as a denim head or like a boot head, whatever you want to call our different passions. It feels like y'all's channel is like the best way to plan a trip to Japan to like all the cool spots that someone in this scene would be interested to go to. So I think that's really cool what you all do, and also I thought the cultural kind of tie-ins of like the different festivals and stuff like that, and events that you go to is a nice sort of way to sort of see like how do you do a denim head trip, and kind of see more of the culture of Japan at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's kind of like a POV shopping experience, I guess. I mean, we're not using a lot of like high-tech camera equipment or audio equipment or really any equipment for that matter. But I'm just going into places that I personally like, and just trying to show products, and shops, and like the inside of shops, and maybe some of the neighborhoods, and just kind of things that I'm interested in, just maybe other people would find interesting, and it's kind of, I'm in a unique spot, and yeah, so I don't know, if I go off into a certain neighborhood and want to stop in like a warehouse or gelato or something like that, and it's just like, well, I might as well just film it and show like a 5-minute video on YouTube or something like that. So it's been kind of fun.
How are the store owners' reactions to you filming? Are they okay?
Yeah, for the most part, they're all really great. The last video, the gelato brand, the store owner was there and he was super happy about it. I actually talked about filming in there like months ago and just finally got around to it. I mean, actually he was super busy that day with like customers coming in and out, so he couldn't do a lot of on-camera stuff. But he's got his own YouTube channel and he explained some stuff about his like clothing line but it's all in Japanese. So I try to kind of give like an English version of that to give them some exposure. The only places that I want to go that would probably be a problem would be the Real McCoy's store. I don't think they would let me film in there, even though it's probably the best retail location in Tokyo. And also Warehouse might not be too happy about it. But otherwise, everyone is, it's just kind of like, yeah, go for it. And I thought about going to Real McCoy's and just not asking.
You get the accuser on you.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe I'll get somebody. I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Freewheelers has a sign that says no photographs at their shop. But I asked them and the guy was like, yeah, no, it's no problem. So I guess some are okay, some not okay. But there's never been a situation where I wanted to do something and I was told I couldn't film or anything. So.
Wonder if you wanted to up your video quality game, if you could build like one of those harness things that people wear with like their camera mounted out front out of like Leader Ogawa shell cordovan or something like that. Would be strong enough.
A harness.
Yeah. Gimbal,
yeah.
whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I think I just gotta adapt more of a YouTube persona and spend some more money. I mean, basically the thing about the YouTube videos is like, it's like, I mean, you guys do it, so it takes time and effort into making these videos. And so usually if I can just jump on like iMovie really quickly while I'm on the train and just like slap together some like quick little edit, that works. But otherwise, Norika is pretty good at it, but just finding the time is really, the hassle. Just sitting down and looking at the videos and editing the videos. I mean, I spend 24/7 just making stuff. So that time that I spend on the YouTube channel is like, if I have any sort of like free time or I want to take my mind away from a project I'm working on and just kind of relax for a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel that like, the YouTube videos, we're getting like a few hundred views maybe on like a video. Although the Pure Blue Japan, which I thought the Pure Blue Japan video was the worst one, that's got like 11,000 views or something like that. So for us, that's like huge. But sorry, I'm distracted. There's like a yelling dog. Mado wa shimatte. But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun little side thing to do and just kind of like, show people that have the same interests that I have. Just stuff, retail spots. Japan is the king of retail. It's unlike any other country really, and especially if you're into the kind of stuff that we're into. This place is Graceland or something like that. It's just, you can walk around and it's just like, oh, here's this store, here's this store, here's this store. And then just like a bunch of other stores that, just have a bunch of other random cool stuff, you know. So it's the neighborhoods around here are great, and I mean Ilya's been here, so he knows. I mean, it's just like, I mean, retail heaven. So
Yeah,
it's a wonderful place to be.
Well, definitely putting my business hat on. I'd like to think that you've got, a unique selling point with your channel that most people are going to really struggle to match, because you're in Japan, you speak the language, you understand the culture, yet you're able to introduce us that don't to to those brands, the shops, the content. And so, any videos in Japan that we just try and like run through Google Translate to understand what it's about or something like that, or in Japanese, sorry, that we try and translate ourselves, understand ourselves, or issues of Clutch magazine that we look at that we don't understand. you've got that ability to sort of like introduce the West to everything happening over there. So that's like super cool, and definitely keep with it.
Yeah. I mean, and you're looking at something like Clutch magazine, you're only going to see like the same brands like over and over and over and over and over again. So, I mean, basically, I try to show the stuff that I like. I mean, we had a video the other week or whatever about like Capcom and Nintendo. I mean, I love like Street Fighter and just old Nintendo video games. And so, we went to the fabric store. There's like the Capcom stores over here, and there's a fabric store like 3 minutes away. So we went into the fabric store, got some fabric, and walked over to the Capcom store and I bought some chopsticks, and they had some really cool shirts and all this stuff. I want it all. It's really, really cool. So, yeah, it's just kind of like a day in the life, really. Some of like, I did the Tokyo Leather Fair video. That video, I think I started filming it around like 3 o'clock, and I hadn't eaten anything that day. And so like, I'm really hungry. I'm starting to get a little bit grumpy. And then I'm using brain power to speak in a different language. And then I'm also trying to like film something. And so it's just like, can I cuss on this video? Can we?
Yeah, of course.
I'm just like, fuck
Yeah,
this,
you fucking
man.
can.
I want to make this stupid fucking video. So, yeah, I mean, some of the, it's not like something to make money with or anything. It's just something that I can show people that, because I'm so into this. And, when I used to live in America, it was just me and nobody else. And like, the only way I could talk to people and like kind of have, like meaningful like relationships with other people that were also into the same thing I was into was all through the internet. So I guess it's kind of a way to kind of share your love and passion with other people, and that's really what it's all about. The main thing I spend my time on is just actually like making stuff. So I'm not gonna, take away time from that to go out and film like Real McCoys or something when they don't even want me to. So.
Well, on that note, there's like definitely a common interest here, because I think with us in the Worn Out Global hangouts in London, Kevin and I started those years ago with the idea of like, we didn't know anybody else into denim in London, but obviously there were other people who were into the scene, and it kind of turned into the meetup, and it's kind of had this like organic growth on its own. And the podcast was like, let's take the meetup and turn it into a digital form. So it's like just a bunch of friends hanging out. And so, yeah, I definitely appreciate the idea of like bringing a community together around something we love. But talking about stuff we love and talk about making money, let's jump into Wild Frontier Goods. Let's talk about your brand a bit. So I guess the first thing I wanted to ask is, there's a unique style to all your goods, whether it's a wallet, a belt, a bag, a shirt. How do you describe that style, and how did you develop it?
I guess, I mean, obviously there's a lot of trial and error. And there's a lot of products that never saw the light of day. You know, I mean, there's a lot of scrap drawings. There's a lot of wasted leather, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, a lot of practice. And I've had a lot of help here in Japan. And I had a little bit of help in America before I came, but I've had some teachers in Japan that have really, really, really helped me a lot. But I think, you know, it's really, you know, it's kind of like guitar. I mean, you're not going to learn until you actually start playing. So it doesn't matter, you know, how many guitar classes you take. You know, I think there's just, you just pick up a guitar and play. And so, I mean, it's really important to me to like have my own voice. And I like products and brands that you can look at and know that, you know, it's a certain maker just by looking at it without having to see like a brand marker. And actually, I don't like having like a big brand indentation on my products. I like to use like a really, really small one, if anything at all. And then, you know, for example, Eddie Van Halen on guitar, you know, it's Eddie Van Halen without having to, you know, see him actually play the guitar. He's got his own signature sound. And so that type of thing is, it's important to me, but I don't really know how to describe it with any type of phrase. I mean, basically what I think Wild Frontier Goods is and what it means to me, and then what other people think it is and what it means to them is kind of equally as valid. So if, you know, somebody looks at my brand and conjures an image in their mind of, you know, what kind of style it is, and then I come out and like contradict that statement, you know, it might kind of be a little deflating for other people. So I don't know. I just make what I like, and everything I guess is a reflection of, you know, my history, my daily life, and my current mood and tastes.
One thing that
Yeah.
comes to mind is and I think your logo is probably the best place to exemplify this, and that there's kind of a notion of like a flourish or like an embellishment to your style. And I think you see it in the leather goods, you see it in the bags. Like nothing's simple, everything's a bit complex. You know, it's a bit rich. It's not plain, but it's also kind of restrained at the same time, right? It's not. It's not like you've got different colors and different stuff. It's like just a simple kind of brushstroke for your logo. And I think that seems to me like that kind of exemplifies a bit your style, whether that's intentional or not. So I wanted to ask, like, you know, how did your logo come about?
That is the wonderful, beautiful, extremely talented Nathan Spohr, the artist. He does a lot of work in the denim community with Okayama Denim, that online retail store. And I mean, what an amazing talent. And he's drawn up some things for me before, and he's just a wonderful artist, a wonderful guy. He lives in California, I believe, and just an amazing person. And he was very, very kind enough to design that logo for me. Can't remember how long ago it was, but yeah, it's simple. It kind of it just is what it is, I guess. You know, it doesn't really for me kind of define anything. I mean, it's just a couple of letters and that's it. But yeah, I like it. I think originally what I had talked with him about was kind of, you know, that game Fallout for like PlayStation, whatever. And we're trying to use like the Vault Boy and Vault Tech style, kind of like retro style of, you know, letterhead or something like that, and to do something. But I don't know. I have all these ideas, and you know, I think it's really great. And then I'll go to bed and wake up the next morning and I'm like, holy shit, don't do that. Just make it
Well,
simple. Even so.
it's interesting though, because I mean, yes, obviously it's probably good that you don't have like a Pip Boy, you know, kind of logo, but at the same time, looking at your stuff, it definitely almost has this kind of like 50s retro vibe to it. Like if you think of like, you know, cars from the 50s, like the Chevy Bel Airs and stuff, those kind of curvatures and the arcs and stuff that you see in design, but also with like straight edges. It definitely feels like it's got a bit of that kind of mid-century modern kind of vibe to it, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, round, a lot of, you know, I don't like sharp angles. You know, I like just like, you know, a flow, just like a river going through mountains. You know, I like, you know, for artwork in general, I just like a lot of like visual brush strokes and that calligraphy style of artwork that they do here in Japan. And yeah, I mean, just very flowy. I guess water, you know, that could be something. But yeah, for me, like, I mean, there's not like a specific like time period that I'm dead set on like focusing my interest on, like saying like, you know, like the flathead or something would be like, you know, 50s like hot rod style. You know, I kind of like some of that stuff, but you know, I like surfing a lot. I'm a big fan of surfing and the beach. So just kind of like a relaxed, laid back, you know, beach house, listening to some jazz music, and then leaving that house and getting into like, you know, an old hot rod and turning on some like De La Soul or something like that. So, you know, it's just kind of like a little bit of a bunch of different inspirations, all just kind of mixed into one pot. And just kind of pour it out and just see what happens. And yeah.
So I guess going from inspiration, like what can you tell us about your creative process? Like how do you go about designing a new item? Like I know you've recently gotten into the sort of t-shirt dyeing world, and you've got bags, you've got wallets. You know, what's your creative process in general?
I think it's just based on necessity, perhaps. You know, I need a shirt, and so I make a shirt. I mean, I want, you know, like a Hawaiian shirt, and so we make a Hawaiian shirt. And so basically, if I don't use it or I don't like it or I don't want it, then I won't make it. Yeah, I mean, as far as the leather products, you know, I really, really, really try to spend a lot of time, you know, making sure like I'm making something that's as best as it can possibly be, you know, and I'm only limited by my own skill, but I really spend a lot of time trying to improve my skills, and trying to explore how to make new things using new tools. And I mean, I'm definitely, you know, just kind of making things on whatever, you know, mood I'm in, whatever season it is. You know, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, uh, you know, if I'm feeling kind of adventurous, you know, it's some days I want to listen to a certain type of music, and then some days, I want to listen to, something totally different, more aggressive. And then I think that'll reflect in the things that I make. I mean, it's kind of maybe cliche to say, but I don't really think of myself as like a leather worker or like a crafter at all. I just, I'm an artist and I use leather to express myself. And the shirts and stuff, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of shirts. So, yeah, just kind of t-shirts and jeans is basically like kind of my daily kind of go-to thing. And then I'm a huge fan of natural plant dyes. They call it kusaki zome here in Japan, and I love it. And so I've been wanting to do a lot of like natural dyed products for years and years, and we've been doing a lot of kaki shibu for a while, and then indigo, and then recently we've been just kind of going crazy and just doing whatever. Pomegranate dyed stuff, like murasaki dyed stuff, and akane dyed stuff, and then trying to mix dyes together. And what happens if I want to make a purple, so can we dye this red and then indigo dye it, and how's that going to look? How's it going to turn out? And so that's been really fun. It's really cool. It's really rewarding. We buy a lot of fabric from this really, really, really nice factory, which hand dyes all of their yarn and then, uses shuttle looms to weave everything together and just makes this like crazy awesome fabric. And all of their stuff is natural dye too. But yeah, I don't know. Did I answer a question, or did I go off on a tangent or anything?
No, I don't think there is a specific answer. It's more just kind of seeing how your brain works and how you think about creativity. So I think that's kind of cool to see how your pieces are more like this notion of like an expression or an artwork, rather than just kind of like, I got this design, I'm going to make 100 of these, or I'm going to make this one thing in like 10 colors, which I think when you go to your website or your Instagram, each piece is unique, and I can see why now.
Yeah, I'm not, that goes back to like, I mean, I don't know, like whatever somebody wants to say, like Wild Frontier Goods, Mike's a leather crafter. Okay, whatever, sure. But I don't want to have like, all right, on my website, there's, wallet style A, style B, style C, style D. And then you can have black or natural or brown. And then somebody places an order for style A, natural. And then it's just like, God, how many times do I have to make the same wallet, over and over? And then by that point, it's just like an assembly line where it's just like cutting this piece, cutting this leather, and just throwing it out. I mean, and that's fine. And I know there's a lot of people that do that. A lot of people that do that here in Japan, where you can go on their website and it's like, I like this wallet, and and they've probably made that same wallet over and over and over again. But I like to just kind of, be able to sit down and just be like, okay, like I'm in, it's a rainy day today and I'm in a rainy day mood. So let me use this leather and, this tool, and, I want to make this type of wallet, and I'm going to put on this type of music, and I'm just going to get into it. As opposed to just kind of waking up and, being like, all right, I got to make 6 natural bifold wallets. Well, I don't know, whatever. If somebody places an order today for 6 natural bifold wallets, I'll be very happy and thankful. But yeah, it's just for me, like, how many times? I mean, I guess like you got to do what you got to do, but I don't want to just keep repeating myself. So I kind of, I like having kind of like, just, okay, I have this, I have this, I have this, it's just a different vibe. Sometimes, shops will ask, like, do you guys have like a line sheet or something where I can look at and see your products? And just like, nah. Like, we, if you want to do like a collaboration where you want to have like a shop exclusive item or something, that's cool. But, I don't have like a set design with a set leather or something like that. So, yeah. But going back to the fabrics, I mean, oh my goodness, we went to some natural dye like houses over this past year. And like, I've seen a lot of like naturally dyed products, since moving to Japan. And, every time I look at it, you're just like, oh, wow, this stuff's awesome. This stuff's awesome. But we went to this one place in particular and we're looking at like the clothes that they made. And it was all indigo dyed, natural indigo dyed, and just like all these different fabrics. And it was just like life-changing experience where, I would see this stuff. And this is just like typical Japanese style of clothing, right? Like very traditional, like Japanese style jackets and like shorts and just like some button-up shirts and stuff like that. So nothing, nothing like rugged workwear or anything like that. But just looking at this fabric and just the absolute beautiful indigo colors that they were creating, it's just like, oh my God, everything I own is shit. Everything I've seen is shit. Like everything, it was like a magical experience. So from that point on, I was just like, you know what, like I can't do anything unless it's like natural indigo. It's just kind of like, oh, this is how good it can be. Then this is the only thing I want to do. So that was extremely inspirational for us, and just trying to constantly just find new fabrics and just natural dye. And I think yeah, I don't know, we've been having a lot of fun recently. But yeah, so I mean, just going around Japan, I mean, there's seeing like the typical stuff from like the typical brands, and it's all like fantastic. But after you've seen that so many times, and then you see like other like traditional Japanese attire with just like these beautiful like hand dyed fabrics, it's like, oh my God, this is like the real deal. So yeah, from the fabrics side of things, we've decided it's only going to be natural plant dyed fabrics, working with a lot of just like kind of hemp blended fabrics, hemp cotton or linen, and just yeah, kind of having fun with it.
Do you see yourselves doing more of the clothing?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime I need something new, we just kind of make it. We've been we're doing the shirts, the old but gold shirts. And then Nordico, she's very, very, very good at making certain things. And there's certain things that she doesn't make. So the things that she doesn't make, if we want to try to make it, it's just kind of finding a collaborator. And for example, like Blue Root and the jeans. And then yeah, I think Old But Gold, and doing just more like khaki shiba dyed like sweatshirts for the fall and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, I think whatever strikes my fancy at the time. You know, if I want to, you know, try to make a certain type of jacket for the winter, you know, just try to find somebody to kind of work with me on it and do something cool. Um, yeah, I don't know.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the Old But Gold collaboration?
Yeah, right now it's just the t-shirts. Um, Old But Gold, the owner, I guess I can talk about him. His name, I don't, you know, some people are private, but I won't say his name. I don't know if, no, I don't know. Anyway, he's a very nice guy, very, very friendly, and his English is fluent. He lived in the UK for a time. He's young too, and just super, super friendly guy. And you know, I wanted to have some naturally dyed shirts for myself to wear. So we were going around and, you know, just buying shirts from just like different brands. And for me personally, I've been wearing like that natural indigo dyed Old But Gold shirt for a few years. And it's just held up very well. It's like a perfect weight for like the Tokyo summer. It's not too light, but it's not like, you know, freewheelers like heavy ounce or like Ironheart heavy ounce cotton. Um, and it just, the shirts fit me very well. So uh, somebody sent me a message asking if they could purchase like a khaki shibu dyed shirt. And I was like, yeah, let me just contact this guy and ask if we can do a collaboration. And he said yes. So the rest is history, I guess. So yeah, the khaki shibu for sure, and the Akane dyed shirts for sure. No indigo because he has Watanabe's indigo collaboration. And then I don't know. I mean, we could dye kind of those shirts really any color. Pomegranate yellow. We can do black with sumi or khaki shibu black. Oh yeah, the Murasaki, the purple. Yeah, I tried to do some purple fabric recently. It was kind of it came out pretty nice, I guess. We tried to do blueberry dye, and blueberry, for one thing, is very expensive in Japan. To buy fruit and berries in general, very expensive. So I spent a lot of money to dye some fabric, and yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I wonder if you should connect with Story MFG, Katie and Bobbin. I know for a while they had a place in London, and ironically, it was called Hand Job Dye House. And they were just basically like experimenting with like different food dyes, and like, you know, having like dye workshops where they're like, hey, today let's see what happens if we dye with avocado pits or whatever. So yeah, it might have some good knowledge share there.
Oh yeah, no, I would definitely, definitely love to talk to them. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a store here in Tokyo that we can go to, and they offer classes on natural dye, and they also have books that they've like self-published, that just kind of give step-by-step instructions on how to like dye this, you know, type of material with this type of like plant or something. And that store has been fantastic for us. And then, you know, they sell mainly, I mean, it's like kind of like the tried and true, like traditional Japanese style of like plant dyes. So like all the kaki shibu stuff and like the indigo, of course, pomegranate, turmeric. course, pomegranate and turmeric are like the same color basically. But yeah, there's there's a lot of like really interesting things that I've been wanting to use to dye with, but it all kind of ends up looking like a light khaki shibu color. So since we already do khaki shibu dye, then it's kind of like, well, there's like a Japanese cypress tree bark or something you can use to dye, but it ends up just looking beige. I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff that will look beige. And so it might have a cool like sounding name, like, you know, green tea dye or something like that, but it'll just end up kind of looking similar to like a light khaki shibu. So I kind of like, you know, bright, vivid colors myself. I'm a huge fan of like, I guess you could say like retro, like vintage style, like skateboard style, like Vans, Palo Peralta, and all that kind of like old school, like Tony Hawk, Mike McGill stuff. And so, you know, old vintage like surf style where it's just like neon pinks and yellows and like old cool. Like I remember I really wanted this old, like when I was young, like the Billabong jackets were super popular. It was like the corduroy, where like the sleeves were like a lime green and the body was like a pink or something, and it had just like the Billabong logo on the back. That was awesome. And so, you know, now I'm getting older and I'm just kind of like remembering that type of stuff that I liked as a kid. So, you know, just trying to see if like, you know, I can make a jacket that has like a similar color scheme, but with like, you know, better fabrics and natural dyes. So maybe pomegranate.
Right up David's alley.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you were getting David pretty aroused at that point.
Yeah, no, I
when
mean,
you
it's the same
started saying
thing.
neon.
Yeah, it's like skate culture, you know, like yeah, all that kind of like 90s skate stuff, you know. It's so good. Like I mean, it's like off topic a bit, but I've got like this like Tanner wallet that's like sharp and fluorescent yellow, and some like Clark's Wallabies that are neon green, and so I'd love to see what you do in that space. And I saw recently you had a belt. There was like an avocado, I think, or like a wasabi shinki cordovan or something like that. I was like, that color is awesome.
Yeah, that was I painted that. Yeah, I used a lot of watercolors when I was in college for like painting stuff. And I tried to somehow mimic that style a little bit in some of like the hand painted stuff. Coincidentally, like the khaki shibu just kind of naturally works out in that style. So khaki shibu is, you know, if you do it correctly, it's going to naturally look like a wood, you know, when you paint it on.
Sounds like rain.
Yeah. And so, you know, just whenever I paint something with just like a basic leather dye, you know, just how can I kind of mimic some of that brushstroke watercolor style. But dude, I mean, I've got some really cool neon color threads I think are cool. Nobody likes this shit, dude.
I'm down.
David does.
David's the one.
Seriously, like you got a new customer.
There was this like it came out like a couple years ago. There's this bridal leather that's different from the stuff I'm using now, but God, I can't remember. Somewhere in Himeji makes it, but they had like basic colors, like they had like green, natural, brown, black, you know, like standard. And then I go into the shop one day and he's like, "Oh, we have a new color of this bridal leather." And I was like, "Oh, what do you got?" And he's like, "It's kind of like an apple green." I was like, "Oh, sweet, all right." And so he pulls it out, and it's just like so ugly that it's perfect. You know, it's just like, imagine anybody wanting that besides me, perhaps. And so, of course, I bought some, and I've never Never used it. Nobody ever wants it. Like I'll never sell it. You know, and like for like the stuff that I make for myself, like I try to make something that's gonna show a little bit of patina advertising, so people can see, you know, okay, well, this is a natural leather, and this is what it's gonna look like, you know, after you use it. But yeah, Tochigi makes pink leather. I love. At the Tokyo Leather Fair, I got to look at. There's like, because right now there's only Shinki Cordovan. Shinki is a tannery that makes the Cordovan. Shinki makes Letter Ogawa. Letter Ogawa is a Cordovan people often hear, but that's all Shinki. It's all Shinki. But now there's another Cordovan being produced separate from Shinki in Japan, and I was looking at it, and they have pink. And I think they have like another like kind of like a lime green color or something. They had white Cordovan too. Looking at the pink, I was like, I'm into this. I like it. It's great. And the guy was like, "Oh, you like it? Really? Really?" I was like, "Yeah, it's perfect. I love it." But yeah, I mean, I love, you know, Ilya and I, we talk often about like music. I love hip hop music. And, you know, that old kind of like bohemian style that was present in hip hop in like the late 80s, early 90s. That kind of style inspires me a lot. And they use a lot of, you know, different bright colors. And then combine that with, you know, like I said, like the surfing and the skating and stuff. I'm definitely heavily influenced by that kind of stuff. You know.
Do you have a top 3 all-time favorite hip hop records?
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, I think stop it. I think I mean, I don't know, just probably Balloon Mind State is somewhere up there by De La Soul. And then Beats, Rhymes, and Life by Tribe Called Quest. And then Illmatic, Nas. Yeah.
Solid choices.
Solid choices, yeah. But I mean, you know, Beats, Rhymes, and Life, that's an album. It came out in 1996. I mean, I'm 40 years old, so I was, you know, young in high school when that album came out, and it's got, you know, a little bit of like kind of a darker, like 96. You know, that was a lot of like East Coast, West Coast hip hop. You know,
big transition time in hip hop as well.
It was a big transition. So that's a year that's got a lot of interesting sounds and, you know, a bit of darker tones and what was kind of more with people more associated with you know, kind of a lighter, brighter sound. So I don't know, for me personally, yeah, they just kind of are very nostalgic to listen to. Also, God, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, huge fan of his vibe, huge fan of his style. Like Deltron album, Deltron 3030 changed my life. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's just the stuff, some of the music that I love. I mean, I love heavy metal music too. I mean, we'll go from listening to, you know, I'll wake up and put on some like, you know, John Coltrane or something, Chet Atkins. I'll listen to NXS. I was just listening to Tears for Fears. I love them. And it's like, you know, all right, it's lunchtime. It's time to put on like some Slipknot. I'll listen to Slipknot for like a week. And then it's just kind of like, you know what? Let me go back to like Tribe Called Quest, and I'll listen to some hip hop or something. So, you know, it's my musical taste is, you know, it's just whatever's good is good. I like it. And so that's kind of Wild Frontier Goods is, whatever I like. And, if it's something I make kind of enjoyable for other people, then that's really, really nice. But yeah, I don't know.
Total aside, but I know Ilya and I talk a lot about indie hip hop, kind of like sort of intellectual hip hop stuff from back in the day. I was just randomly looking at my phone, and my all-time favorite hip hop record is Dr. Octagon's Octagon Ecologist, and I saw that came out in '96 as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. But
yeah, dude,
yeah,
that's all Dan the Automator. Yeah, and he.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that guy is great. Dan the Automator, fun fact. Do you guys remember he was on the Selvedge website?
Oh, really?
You click on this was years ago. I don't know if he still is, but when it was like Selvedge and Blue and Green, that was it in America. I remember you can click on the Selvedge website, and Dan the Automator was one of the models for I don't know, just kind of like the home screen, just like sitting down wearing like a jacket or something, and Dan the Automator. I was like, oh, that's so cool, that's awesome. But yeah, dude, Dr. Octagon, Cool Keith, we listened to that. I had that CD, and we took in my high school in America, we had like driver's ed class, and it was just you and your buddies. You get into a car and just drive around like the high school parking lot, and we would just listen to like whatever's on the radio, but also that album we were listening to, like Dr. Octagon.
Where'd you grow up?
Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's a shithole, but
I grew up in Texas, and it's turned into one in some ways.
Yeah, dude, I'll never go. I mean, Florida, the beaches are lovely. It's wonderful, but I'm never going back. Yeah. But oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, old Kanye is great. I don't know. Most Def, Talib Kweli, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And these guys are, it's just, there is a period of my life where I was just exclusively listening to stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I guess rap and hip hop, it can be my favorite music, and it can also maybe even be my least favorite music. So there's a pretty wide variety of styles. I was listening actually to Kendrick Lamar yesterday. And like I was like, because he recently came out a new album, and I was like, all right, what is Kendrick Lamar's like best album? And I'm like searching like that, Kendrick Lamar best album, click, and To Pimp a Butterfly came up as like kind of like most commonly. And I listened to it before, but I was revisiting that album yesterday, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, it's all right. I mean, it's just maybe I'm just too old, and he's too young.
My personal take is that any Kendrick album needs like 4, 5, maybe 10 listens to really get into. And whether you're that kind of listener or not, can be a deciding factor. But I also think To Pimp a Butterfly is his best album. I think musically as well. I think the musicians that he managed to, get in the studio, like Thundercat, like Kamasi Washington, I think that for me makes it the best album overall, and also the themes that he talks about on there. I think everything works perfectly on that album. Yeah, and for me, I listened to that album for about 6-7 months straight. Obviously with other things, but and for the new album, yeah, it's a mix. I think again, it takes a while to get into it. I think it's better than the previous one, but
Mm.
for me, he's always got something interesting to say, and he's always got something, an interesting way of putting it together. It's not just, here you go, it's this package, you take it, and that's it. And then you can, I think there's a lot of hidden meanings. There's like multiple layers there as well that you can take in and revisit and think, okay, this connects this way with that. So yeah, for me, he's one of the artists in hip hop now that still makes hip hop, which is interesting to me, whereas a lot of it I don't really relate to anymore. Or so yeah. Whereas like yourself, there's one point that was hip hop was the only thing I was listening to exclusively, and then I expanded my musical base to a lot of different places. So now hip hop is just one of the places I go to. But yeah, so for me, Kendrick is still one of the kind of the people worth listening to from a hip hop point of view, even if I don't always agree with what he says or how he does it, or but it's still an interesting take on it.
One thing that just came to mind, I know Mike, you're making some posts on your brand page recently about like starting to do some reels, because you're saying like, the algorithms and my content, I got to start doing reels now and whatever. And I know you're sort of kind of making a joke about it to a degree, but one thing that just came to mind, and maybe you should do something where you're like showing the musical inspirations for a piece you're working on. And even like for your posts and stuff, just kind of like, this is this wallet I did, I was jamming out a lot to this band at this time, or this is the bag I'm working on, and here's the kind of musical tie-in. I think that could be a really cool thing that people would resonate with, because
agreed.
Yeah, I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's a really fantastic idea. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I mean, sometimes, I'm in here listening to Janet Jackson. Janet, like a quarter of a tote bag.
Nothing wrong with that.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey, if it's the inspiration, it's the inspiration.
So it secretly turns out the everything you've done is inspired by the Encanto soundtrack.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Blue Root collaboration that you've been part of?
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Blue Root. The guy who does Blue Root is amazing. He's a very skilled artist, wonderful guy. He very, very, very much enjoys like surfing. So we have that surfing lifestyle in common. He's like most Japanese people who are into like the denim scene, he's inspired by like the 1960s and 1950s Levi's cuts or Wrangler cuts and stuff like that. But Sai, he worked for Edwin. Yeah, he worked for Edwin for like 25 years or something. And basically like his only job from after high school, starts working for Edwin. He was eventually the head pattern maker for Edwin, and then he left and he started doing his own thing. But he makes products and he makes the patterns for the products. So I think that's a very useful thing, is to be a pattern maker, which I find to be more difficult than actually sewing together a garment. But he's friends with the gentleman who runs Denim Bridge, and he makes not all of the patterns, but he makes some of the patterns for Denim Bridge. And so we connected through that relationship, and he just talked about doing like jean collaboration that we could sell to like the Western people. And yeah, he's got some really interesting denim that has a splash of natural indigo thrown into the mix. So it's 30% natural indigo. And we like that denim because it closely resembles this vintage pair from the 60s that the silhouette is based off of. So it's kind of like a lighter, more kind of washed out, well, eventually will become lighter, washed out, like kind of something you would see maybe like Brad Pitt's character wear in that Tarantino movie that recently, Hollywood something or other.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, fantastic movie. But you know, just kind of like somebody, you know, lives, you know, California, LA, you know, just kind of surfboards in the truck, you know, Vans, shoes, and just kind of like 1966, you know, Levi's Big E design. It's just kind of what I was envisioning when we were doing those jeans. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, my input is bare minimum. I just wanted it to be as simple as possible. You know, I didn't want to have, you know, flashy pocket bags or like a flashy leather patch or really flashy anything. I wanted it to be simple and just, you know, it is what it is. And so, yeah, you know, I went, you know, Kinati pocket bags, like the natural cotton pocket bags. And that's it. And like, and just, you know, make the jeans, and then that's what they are. So they're, you know, they're nice stuff. He makes it all himself on his machines in his factory.
Just for the listeners, I'm doing a bit of research in the background, so make sure I can like find these pages so folks can follow them. So it looks like the first one's BlueRoot_jeans. Let me know if that's right. And the other one's just Denim Bridge, one word.
Yeah, Denim Bridge, and then Shingo-san, the guy who runs Denim Bridge. I think he's maybe more active on Denim Baka.
How do you spell that?
But I mean, you can basically follow. Blue Root's handle, I don't even know what that is off the top of my head. But I know the guy who does Denim Bridge, he's got like kind of like Denim Bridge where it's just like his brand, and then Denim Baka, which is just kind of he's sharing his love of all things denim on that account. But
awesome.
Denim Bridge, that guy, I mean, there is nobody on this planet with like the love of denim that matches this guy's love of denim. I mean, he's the real deal. So very friendly, very nice. I know I can't say, you know, anything bad about the guy, but his jeans are fantastic. He's just, you know, somebody that I kind of admire and look up to and love supporting. So yeah, him and just, you know, Blue Sai from Blue Root. I mean, these guys are just so very nice, so very friendly, warm and welcoming, and just kind of a great representation of, you know, what type of products are available in Japan and the level of like expertise and, you know, skill and just like decades of knowledge going into each, you know, product that they make. We've been wanting to go to Denim Bridge to see his little workshop for a while. It's super far from where we are, so we haven't had the time to go visit him and do a YouTube video, but that's a future YouTube video.
Yeah, sounds cool. It's great to kind of understand this community that you're connected to, that only is feasible if you live in Japan and speak the language and sort of know the local folks. I think that's really cool. I think we try and do the same with like kind of the UK community and discovering small makers and craftspersons here. So appreciate that you're willing to share this knowledge with us.
Yeah, man. No, it's it's what I am. I mean, my job is my job, but this is all I do. I mean, I'll exercise, but while I'm exercising, I'm looking at different plants, jogging, and just like, oh, that's a beautiful color on that flower. Like, how can we match that color? And and then just kind of there's a lot of like well-dressed people around Japan, and so I'm always thinking about something related to what it is that we like. I'll think about boots, I'll think about sneakers for a long time, and I'll think about like I need to have this shirt, and I'll get that shirt, and then that's like the only shirt I'll wear for like months. I'll have like a uniform where it's like I'm wearing the same thing every day, all day. So I'm a little bit selfish in that, like, kind of reaching out to people and doing a YouTube video and all this Instagram stuff is going to benefit me because this is how I make money. But also, like, I'm really into this type of stuff. So, when people, want to talk about it, I love talking about it, and I'm very into it. So, I can talk for hours and hours and hours and, discuss things that I think are good or things that I think, are not good, or, So it's my pleasure really to just kind of go off on tangents. Whoever wants to listen.
It's interesting. Go ahead.
Sorry.
You go.
I was just going to say, I think your passion really comes across, in what you do, both in the YouTube form and in the products that you guys are making. I think that's a really unique angle that no one else is doing. I mean, there's so many, people making leathercraft, and sometimes it's hard to discern what is good versus what is average or which is bad. I think one of the questions I kind of wanted to ask you, so maybe that you could explain to our listeners and to ourselves, what do you think makes like an average leather product, like a belt, to a really, really good standout piece? What are the things that go into it? Like, we know a lot of people know what goes into making a good jean, but I think a lot of people might not necessarily know what goes into making a good belt, for example, and they might think the same two things are like of equal measure, especially when the prices are quite similar. You'll see 120 quid belt that this person makes and this person makes, but what's a good key things to check for?
Yeah, well, I mean, first things first is like, if one person thinks that something is good, then it's good. Like, whatever they like, they like. It's kind of like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, fucking Nirvana sucks, I hate them, and you like them.
Cool.
I love it. But I mean, when it comes to my opinion for quality leather product is first and foremost like, well, what is the leather that's being used, right? And then for belts, for me personally, just what I prefer. I'm not going to say that this is like in any way better than one thing or another, but just the things that I prefer. I only do hand stitching for all my leather stuff. I don't use rivets or like Chicago screws for belts. And I can see their use, but for me, there's more of an artistic expression in hand stitching something. And my thinking is it takes more skill and time to hand stitch a belt. And I will argue that it's a stronger hold. I mean, if you have like a couple of rivets, the tension is only held in a couple spots, whereas stitching holds the tension, all throughout and gives a more even distribution. And I've had belts in the past where the stitching has, comes undone. But usually a lot of times, if you have like a leather product and the stitching is coming undone, it's cotton thread and it's machine stitched. So cotton thread tends to kind of unravel over time. It's just something that happens. Yeah, I think, a belt, it serves a function and it serves a purpose, right? But it could also be so much more than that, and I don't want to do, I don't want to make something, because, sometimes somebody will ask my opinion on like making something and I'll say, well, we could do this, or I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. But then I'm getting so far away from what the purpose of this product is. And so, just a nice, good quality piece of leather that for me has like a nice buckle and that's cleanly attached to the belt. And then the edges of the belt are just nice and smooth. And then that's, to me, a good belt. And then you're going to mess up on having just, leather that's sub quality, in my opinion. I can, for me, I've got a lot of experience dealing with different leathers, and I can look at a picture of somebody wearing a belt and I'm just like, oh, that leather sucks. So, but like, yeah, like, it for me, yeah, the leather is where it starts, and then what happens with that leather is, up to each individual person, I think. So I think the only thing that would be good is just, having, something that holds your pants up, that, works. That's a good belt. I mean, really. But what makes it artistic is, up to, each person, I think. Yeah.
One follow-up question. So there's obviously kind of this like tension between, needing to be commercial and pay the bills and make a business, but also this kind of notion, this desire to sort of like have creative expression and like an art form behind the goods you make. What's the best way for potential customers to engage with you and your brand? Is it to like just keep an eye on your feed and your website and kind of see what cool stuff you come up with and just jump on something interesting when you make it? Or is it around reaching out to you to have something special made and kind of, having a few ideas of what they want? Like what's your desired way for customers to kind of interface with your brand?
Yeah, I mean, just, whatever is easiest for them. If they want to email, they can email. Or they can just send a direct message through like Instagram or something. Yeah, sometimes depending on life, sometimes I'll have something available on the website, but sometimes I'll get a message asking like, are you going to have more of this wallet or this style of wallet on the website? And it's just like, well, I don't know, maybe. I mean, you can just ask me to make you something, and that would be, the best way to do it. Yeah, I mean, because, Wild Frontier Goods, I mean, there's so much that goes into it. There's like sitting at my table and, using a knife and using like a hammer and using something to punch holes in the leather, right? But then, there's, waking up, checking emails, answering the emails, making something. I'm a horrible photographer, so trying to take a picture of it, upload the pictures onto like Instagram, up to the website, all this just kind of like behind the scenes stuff that takes so much time. And so, I think that the best way is, if you're interested in something, then just message me and ask me, is it possible for me to make? And then how long is it going to take for me to actually make it? And then, yeah, I like I said, I think at the beginning of this podcast, like I make things that I like. So sometimes, very rarely, there'll be a request where it's just, I'm not into it, and if I'm not into it, then I'm not going to be able to make it, I think, at the level that it deserves to be made. So, some things I just can't accommodate. But yeah, so it's definitely, it gets busy around here, trying to search for good music and Stranger Things season 4. So it's just send me a direct message and I'll answer as quickly as possible. Yeah, and that's the best way, I think, to contact us. And yeah, I mean, also too, I think if you don't mind, we can set up like time to video chat, because sometimes when you're talking about certain details, it's just so much. I can take like a text message that's like really, really long and just condense it into like 30 seconds of speaking and showing something. And then yeah, so I'm not opposed to doing like video consultations or whatever you want to call it. But yeah,
that's a good shout, because I guess with like leather in particular, the angle you hold it at and the light and everything, it's so nuanced, right?
Yeah, it's so hard for me. Like I'm not I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not a good photographer. And like I was kind of like anti-reel, because I really do enjoy a beautiful photograph. And I was like, all these reels, people are, it's just not the same thing anymore. But to be honest, you can have some fun making a reel. And so my mind has changed about that. But with Cordovan in particular, it's a bit for me, it's very difficult to photograph, because it's very reflective of lighting. And also Letter Ogawa Cordovan, depending on the way the light hits it, it could look one shade of green or a completely different shade of green, which is also some of like the appeal, in my opinion. So yeah, sometimes, if I just have a video where I can just kind of show like a piece of cordovan and twist it and turn it and be like, this is what it's going to look like, and then that's just, an easier way to communicate, I think.
Yeah, I think as a kind of like fan or customer, whatever, future customer, I definitely appreciate how you do the detail shots of your products. Like I don't own something from you yet, but like at some point I'd like to get a wallet and being able to see the details you've got of kind of like, here's how I do this stitching here, here's how I do this buckle there, here's how I've built this particular bag flap and things like that. That kind of like detail shots you do, I think really goes a long way to helping a customer understand kind of, what's the product going to be like that I get eventually. And yeah, I think, the reels or the other stuff is great to kind of see your process, but I definitely think there's specific value in those kind of detail shots you do of works in progress and or finished products.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, with Instagram, on one aspect, you're selling a product, but you're really selling a photograph. And so, depending on if you're able to take a really nice picture, you can, take something, you can hide some, mistakes fairly easily with some good photography skills. Whereas like, just video, it's kind of, there's nowhere for like little mistakes to hide. But yeah, I think, I would love, just for like, promotional photography, I wish I knew somebody that I could just kind of pay to take all these product shots. It would be really difficult because, like, we talked about, I don't have set products. So it's essentially like I would be calling them up every day, like, hey, man, take a picture. Yeah, I try to push all the photography stuff onto Nordico, but it doesn't really work out that well.
Me and Ilya will fly over. I can be your co-host on the reels, and Ilya can take the photos. There you go. Sorted.
Yeah, if only that could be possible. Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, I think, yeah, I don't know. It's just basically, with Wild Frontier Goods, and then with like Instagram and promotions, is like, do I like, what I'm doing? Am I having fun? And, basically, like, Nordico and myself, we, we're just children really living this fantasy life. And so, if I have, a picture of a wallet, with like some silly toy in the photo, or you just kind of doing something like, doing whatever. I don't know. I talked to her the other day because we were watching some TikTok videos and we're just laughing. Some of those videos are so funny and so clever. And I was like, we should do that. We should make a TikTok video. But I just don't want, to turn like Wild Frontier Goods into like kind of like, cheap promotion where you're doing some type of like silly, product placement TikTok video or something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line, isn't it? And but I think what you guys are doing is coming across really well. And I think I don't think your photography is that bad. I think all the product shots that you are doing is nice. You can see the quality of the leather. You can see the quality of the stitching, and what everything looks like. So I wouldn't beat yourself too much about that side of things.
Yeah, I'd say +1. I think the content's great, the product's great. Being able to actually like see your brand as like as an actual craft, not just like something that some mystery person has made that's like magically appearing in a Shopify store or something, right? It's like we can see both of you as part of your brand and your lifestyle on YouTube and the products that come out of it. So I think I mean don't stress too much. I think you guys have a good thing going and keep building on it.
Yeah, promotion, so it's self-promotion, which is also something that's a little bit silly, I think, for me. It's kind of like, if I'm taking a picture, of a wallet and I'm like, hey, this is a nice wallet and it's for sale. I also, I don't want to sit here and say like, this is the best wallet. This is the best. There's better out there. I mean, it's just, oh, okay.
But it is.
saying, it is what it is, and
I feel like it's always hard to big yourself up while still being genuine.
Right. Yeah.
Tough line.
You want the product to do the talking, basically, not yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's something. Oh my goodness, that's where retail stores come in handy as like a co-signer for brands, and just word of mouth promotion and that's yeah.
But I think one thing to remember is that not everybody is that geeky and nerdy about these things, and sometimes you need to tell them probably why certain things are better than others. So you might not necessarily have to say this is the best, but you can explain why this leather is good or really good, and why the techniques that you're using are really great, so on and so on, without necessarily saying this is the best wallet. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable talking about like the leather.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I mean,
just avoid clickbaity titles that so many people like to use anymore, and those weird thumbnails where you're pulling a funny face like someone's stuck their thumb up your bum or something.
Maybe they have.
To like the red light district, taking pictures of like don't leave home without it. But yeah, like I mean, I tend to I mean, the leather is good. What can I say? Like it's
really
almost
good.
Like I mean for me, like as far as the construction goes, like I try my best, and I've been inspired by people, and I've had a lot of help by people, in particular Moto Leather. That family has been very, very, very kind and wonderful, and they've helped me a lot, particularly with like the bags. But it's easy for me to make YouTube videos about another brand that I really like, but if somebody's like, "Well, are you gonna make a Wild Frontier Goods YouTube video?" So, well, there's nothing to make for me. Like, it's just kind of like, here's a piece of leather, and I think if I did a Wild Frontier Goods YouTube video, it would be like us walking to the grocery store and buying our lunch or something. Like coming back and like eating our lunch and
one thing like, that go ahead.
And just I think just kind of like,
I think maybe it'd be quite good to see like a video of maybe if you have a customer who's like custom designing something, going through the design process and saying, hey, these are like the leathers I had as options for him, and he's gone with this one. And then we talked about like the buckle, and this is the one. So like people maybe could see like the step-by-step process of, you know, if they were ordering something a little bit more custom from you.
Yeah, it's another fantastic idea. Yeah, the problem I have also is, and Noriko, she'll know, you know, because sometimes she'll come home and she's just like, you're just, you know, you just never want to talk to me. But it's just like, I am in the zone, you know. And, you know, I'm sure you guys, like, we've all, like, you know, written out like papers at school or something like that. Yeah, I said written, but I'm doing a typing gesture. But anyway, you know, you're writing a paper and you know, it's hard to get started, but once you're in the zone, you're in the zone, and then you don't want to stop. And so for me, like when I work, you know, I'll sit down at the chair and I'll just stare at something, and then it's just like, all right, I'm gonna pick up this, and I'm gonna pick up this, and I'm gonna do this, and then all of a sudden I'm in it, you know. I'm in the zone. My brain is just completely saturated with what I'm doing, and I don't want to be pulled out of that saturation. And so that's another difficult thing about, like, you know, it's just like, I'm making this. All right, let me stop and let me take a picture. Click. All right, let me make it stop. Let me take a picture. And so I just get completely sucked into the zone, and you know. And the Nordica, she'll come home and she'll be like, oh, yeah, hello. And I'm just like, you know, just kind of like giving a, maybe a barely audible, like, hey, what's up?
I'm guessing that focus is probably part of why your work is as good as it is, right? It's the fact that you've got that focus and that you get in the flow and, you know, make some really cool stuff as a result.
Yeah. Focus, being just absurdly stubborn, I think. And like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm doing it, and that's all there is to it. You know, if I'm making this wallet, like, I'm making this wallet. If I want it to be like this good, it's gonna be this good, or else, you know, like, you know, I'll be dead. I don't know. Like, it's just basically, it's all or nothing. Like, and so I think, you know, to be, you know, a great artist, I mean, you have to, like, 100% give yourself to whatever it is that you're doing. And, you know, I think, you know, if you want to be an actor, I don't know, there's just something very romantic about just going for it, you know, and just being like, I'm 100% an actor and I have zero income, but I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. And so for Wild Frontier Goods, you know, it's just kind of like that drive of stubborn stupidity, I guess, and just being like, I'm 100% doing this, and, you know, I will, you know, not pay rent for 6 months. You know, I'll live under a bridge and I'll stitch leather, you know, on the side of the road. I don't care. I'm doing it, you know. And so, yeah, just kind of 100% just going all in, you know, and just kind of focusing in on something that I like. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure you can call it some type of clinical condition or whatever, but yeah, I get in the zone for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and I think that resonates, whether it's, you know, whether it's like Lex sewing up a garment, or whether it's some of us painting Warhammer miniatures, or you know, whatever kind of hobbies we've got, you know, getting into that flow and getting into that zone is what it's all about. And I guess probably what makes it a bit addictive, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I love also, like, going into the unknown, where, you know, you can start something and, you know, and You say, what are you gonna make? I don't know. What is that? I don't know. Well, it'll be whatever it's gonna be. Let's just see what happens. And that's kind of difficult to do with leather. But applying colors to leather or applying like colors to fabrics or something like that. And that's another good thing about like doing patchwork and sashiko stitching on fabrics. And you can just let's take some of this fabric and throw it on there. Let's take some of this fabric and throw it on there. And then let's like color it like this. And so yeah, I guess controlled chaos is something that's kind of appealing. I mean, with the leather and stuff, everything is planned out, precisely. Each millimeter is accounted for, and I don't stray away from something like that. But I do like the idea of just doing making some type of wallet with some type of color combination that's so unattractive that it's attractive, right? It's just like, it's so ugly, it's good.
Yeah, you and David need to speak afterwards about this.
yeah, neon threads, everything.
That's kind of, but yeah, like yeah, I find that it's hard to convince people to buy something really ugly. So I've tried. I've definitely tried. Every once in a while, somebody will ask me like, "Oh, what color threads do you have?" And I'm just like, I've got.
All the colors.
Yeah, I do. I've got the rainbow thread. And there's a thread that's called Kaleidoscope, where it's just got everything. Like every 5 millimeters is like a new color. Nobody ever wants it. Nobody ever wants it. I think
stop drooling.
Yeah, I'm starting to make my first shirt, and I've got this chambray I found in London where it's like the warp's indigo dyed, but the weft is like bright yellow.
Oh yeah.
Almost kind of neon yellow, and it looks kind of teal aqua colored chambray at the end. And I was like, so I bought like neon yellow thread for the inside thread, and I'm like, I'm going in on this. I don't care how ugly it looks.
Dude, we just found some neon green selvage denim.
You really shouldn't have told David that.
Yeah.
Please don't.
He's booking his flights.
It was neon green. But did you see that that shirt that we dyed? It was pomegranate and indigo dyed.
Yep.
So it was like yellow and blue next to green. That's a really cool idea for making like a shirt too. I think is using a mixture of colors to make a color. But yeah, I don't know. I like it all. There's really nothing. I mean, like that brand Naked and Famous, I think is kind of like just personified, strange, I guess. I don't want to say ugly because it's not ugly. I mean, some of this stuff is weird, but for what as far as like extremely high quality, well constructed denim, I mean, Naked and Famous isn't that type of brand, but I celebrate their willingness to do whatever it is that they want to do, and I find that it's really fun, and it's not for me, some of it, but like I really like the guys who run that brand. They're
ballsy.
yeah. I mean, they did the Street Fighter jeans, and I think that's great. I mean, the denim is not good, and the stitching is not fantastic, but the idea is really fun. And that's just, that type of stuff is you know, what I like to celebrate. And they did like Friday the 13th jeans or something like that, and it's wild and crazy. I mean, I'm not buying this stuff, but I really like it.
Yeah, we all had a laugh about the Matrix jeans they did. I don't know if you saw those for the new Matrix movie.
I don't know. Matrix jeans, maybe I saw them. I don't know.
They're pretty ridiculous. They did one where they like painted polyurethane, like black polyurethane over the top of the jeans, so it looked like it was like fake leather. But then it would crackle off and peel off, and like there's like black denim under it, and it's just sort of.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, I don't know. Okay,
that's my response to them most of the time.
I mean, like, that type of stuff is like, I want to see it. You know, I just want to look at it first.
I wouldn't want to wear it.
Nah, I don't want to. Yeah, but you know, like, not to say that, you know, it's too funky, because I mean, you know, we're in Tokyo, we can wear whatever we want to wear, and so like, it's just that. Yeah, I mean, Naked and Famous, goodness, you know.
I feel like it's always good to have someone in the industry pushing the boundaries of what you can do with, you know, workwear and heritage, and that, you know, it's good to have someone innovating, and, you know, that then pushes other brands to, you know, maybe take a step out of the comfort box a bit.
Well, you know, I always say that, you know, people, if anyone wants to, you know, be a little too like snobby, yeah, I'm a denim snob for sure. You know, like, I only wear like the best of the best of the best, but I would never, you know, look down on a brand like Naked and Famous. It's crazy, and it's definitely not for anybody. Or, you know, like, Naked, if it wasn't for Naked and Famous, and if it wasn't for like nudie jeans, then a lot of people like making money now in this industry wouldn't be making money, because they have opened up the door for
APC as well, I'd say,
brands. And, you know, quite often, you know, somebody's first exposure to Japanese denim is going to be Naked and Famous or something. You know, like APC jeans, Naked and Famous jeans. I mean, you know, Naked and Famous came out a long time ago, and whenever Naked and Famous came out, there really wasn't a lot of selvage jeans for sale, you know, available. It was just kind of like what's coming out of Japan, and then maybe a few other like random brands sprinkled throughout. And then, you know, Naked and Famous started coming out, and, you know, they're making jeans for like $120, which is like an affordable selvage, you know. And then so people start buying these types of jeans. And then, you know, it's just kind of like, well, what else is out there? Oh, you know, samurai jeans. Oh, what's that all about? You know? And so, you know, you start exploring other brands, and, you know, I think it creates an industry, you know, for, you know, people, because, you know, in Japan, everyone is kind of aware of like quality denim. But if you live in, I don't know, Milwaukee or something, well, Milwaukee's got a store, I think. But if you live in some like small town USA, like, you know, selvage denim is a thing of the past. And so, you know, if it wasn't for Naked and Famous, you know, kind of exposing more people to this type of clothing, I think the industry wouldn't be what it is right now. You know, it wouldn't be as big as it is, and there wouldn't be as many different denim brands, I don't think.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's definitely like a trend right now of like weft experimentation, whether it's like, you know, Tanuki using black beans, or even like, you know, PBJ doing some different wefts. And it seems like a bit of a trend around natural weft dyes in particular. I know Merv's pushing a lot of that with his Okayama denim collabs. See, but yeah, definitely you have to kind of look back and say like, well, who kind of kicked all that stuff off? And it definitely seems like Naked and Famous kind of started that whole openness to experimentation in raw denim.
Yeah, the colored wefts. I mean, Strike Gold has had their little subline of colored weft denims for a long time. But yeah.
What's that called for those that don't know? Is it just Samurai? Does it have like a special name, or is it just Samurai? It's like a subset.
Tenryo denim. So there's like the Strike Gold and then Tenryo denim, and then that it's branded Tenryo jeans, and it's got like red, yellow, green, blue weft denim and stuff like that. It's not very commonly available, maybe even outside of Japan anymore. But yeah, I mean, jeans, like, you can, for me and my personal taste is like you push it so far. And like, if I look at like pictures from like, 5 years ago, and I'll see the jeans I'm wearing, it's just like, but like, it's just, you push it to the point of like absurd, right? And like and Naked and Famous does that, where it's like, oh, you have 21-ounce jeans, we're doing fucking 32-ounce jeans, 40-ounce jeans, and how about that? And it's just like, okay, like, that's crazy, like, it's awesome, I love it, but it's just not for me to want to wear comfortably on a daily basis. And I remember when I was first kind of getting into this type of thing, people had like a few jeans that they would wear, and that was it. And now it seems like people are buying like 50 pairs of jeans, and every day they're wearing a brand new pair of jeans. And it's just kind of like, well, that's cool and all, but like, you're kind of missing the point. For me, I want to have like, okay, I wore this jean every day, and that's it. I didn't have anything else, and if my jean is being washed, then I don't wear jeans that day. I'm just going to walk around my underwear. But like, yeah, I feel that, I can't remember what I was talking about now. Oh, colored weft. Yeah, like colored weft stuff. I mean, like you can only, it's just like, wait for it, guys. Purple weft, and it's just like, holy shit, what can you do? And it's like, next season you're like, oh god, we're doing brown weft, that's it, and then it's just like, okay, brown, and then it's just like, well, there's only so many colors, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, before it
can become quite gimmicky and seasonal with it. It's like, okay, it's like, how can we make that same person buy another pair of jeans which is a little bit different?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think one of the points that you, I think, were talking about is that you push yourself to the absurdity, and in the end, sometimes you just want to go back to that classic, 50s cut with subtle detailing, and just have a nice pair of jeans.
Yeah.
I mean, I was one of those guys in the beginning. I've had a pair of Naked and Famous rainbow Selvedge.
Oh, yeah.
So they were like all different colors of weft. I've still got them, actually, I think, back in the Netherlands, but probably won't fit anymore. But yeah, I thought that was cool in the beginning, and it was really cool. But yeah, now I'm like, I would never buy that again.
Yeah, I think it's just an evolution of time,
Absolutely.
Growing, whenever you first start buying jeans and like you're 25 and now I'm 40, and you're just like, I'm in a different frame of mind, where you just reach like a denim enlightenment where it's just like Levi's 501 is the best and will always be the best, type of kind of thing, where it's just kind of like, the greatest album, the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, and that's the pinnacle of music, and you can change it and you can do whatever, but then it's just, you're always going to go back to like the Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys or something. And so yeah, you can color the weft, and you can mess around with the shuttle loom to make the jeans slubby and nappy, but at the end of the day, I think most people will go back to kind of like the original over time. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess, it's all a conversation about what, is preferable to some people. And I think it's all good, I guess. I don't want to say just because I don't like something that is bad. So yeah, I think for me, if I'm gonna buy a pair of jeans, it's gonna be from a couple of people that are actually making the jeans themselves. They care about every aspect of their craft, whereas most people, like we talked about, they don't care. And so if they see like a nice beautiful indigo jean with like a really cool like light colored blue weft, it's just like, oh, that's great, that's great, so yeah, I guess to each their own. And yeah,
it depends where you put the importance in of that aspect, whether you want to know the people that are making your clothes, or you want to have something which really attracts you, like the denim, like you were saying. So yeah, and I think as time goes on, your choices do change with that.
Yeah, and I think like for me, I mean, when I step out of my house, it's not like anybody's gonna know like, oh my God, that's a jeans, or you can tell it's only made by one guy, and, it's all for you, right? It's a personal decision on what you want to wear, and it's a personal decision on what you want to buy, and it's just kind of like an outward expression of like your inward self. And yeah, just for me personally, like, just wear what makes you feel good, and it makes me feel good to have, in my opinion, what is like the best, right? And so those little details on what makes the difference between a $300 pair of jeans and a $100 pair of jeans. And I just, for me personally, I like to look at those details. If I'm sitting on the train and I'm just like fiddling around with my belt loop or something like that, so yeah, yeah, it's really hard to say what's, because like, who is the best artist? Who's the best painter? And you can say who's good, but why are they good? And it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's too much great stuff, and too much interesting stuff, and I just find, try to find like the beauty in all of it, and try not to be too snobby about kind of talking to people, about what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, and I guess it's an interesting one too, because you can like really go far down the rabbit hole, and like I saw a Business Insider video the other day on raw denim, and like it's like, why are Japanese jeans so expensive? And I hadn't known this, but like at Momotaro you can get like hand loomed denim for like a made to measure pair of jeans for like $1,000 or something, and it's like yeah, it seems like there's really infinite possibility just to kind of keep going further and further down the rabbit hole. So I guess finding the brands you like, find the quality you like, find the maker you like, and stick with them.
Yeah, really. I mean, yeah, Momotaro, those hands, I don't even know if those are real.
Just make one for the video and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like whenever you ask about it, it's like, nah, sorry.
Probably. I think, yeah, I mean, you know, like that indigo dyeing brand, Boo ISO, where they make jeans and their jeans are like $1,000. And it's just like, what? $1,000? Like, what's going on here? And yeah, you know, it's just, you know, different, you know, details and, you know, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think that Business Insider thing, that's an old, really old article from Momotaro focusing on Japan Blue.
Yeah, this one was a YouTube video. It just popped up in my feed the other day. I don't know if it was a recent video or not, but it's basically like, I guess maybe they took the article and did a video form of it, or it could just be a really old one that was recommended to me.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah, they did some stuff. I mean, God, I did. I remember I can't remember what was that magazine called then? The magazine that I did that interview with or whatever. Oh. And I don't know. I did some. It was like a Korean publication, and they also publish in English. And I remember we did like an interview years ago, and whenever it was finally printed, like I remember reading it, and I was like, I didn't say any of this, dude. They had like completely made it something else, and yeah, I was bummed about that. But yeah. Speaking of Naked and Famous, you know, I won the first Naked and Famous denim aging contest. They were that's another thing. Naked and Famous was the first like to do that type of thing too, because they did that contest like that must have been over 10 years ago, like 10 or 11, 12 years ago or something like that. But yeah, yeah. So those are, I don't have those jeans anymore. But yeah, Naked and Famous was like one of the first to bring around like the denim aging contest that's like so common nowadays.
Yeah, I'm doing the current Indigo Invitational, and I've never done a fading contest before, and I'm trying to decide if it like is cool or if it's ridiculous, because it's like I don't just want to wear one pair of jeans for a year straight, but I'm also interested to see like how the fading goes with it. So I don't know.
I think it's quite nice to give yourself some focus in terms of that. Like I did it with the TCB jeans, the 40s, and I wasn't really there for the trying to win the competition. I was just into it because I liked the story behind the denim that, you know, they made specifically for that pair of jeans. The cut, which was good. So it was just nice to do it from that point of view, but not to see how quickly you can trash your pair of jeans, you know, in the least amount of time.
Yeah, I think also something like that. I mean, it's just like it adds a little bit of spice to your daily life, you know, where you can wake up and feel a little bit of excitement, like, ooh. if anything, you know, goes wrong today, then whatever. At least, you know, like I'm wearing like I'm doing something. I'm feeling a little bit productive about wearing like a contest jean, you know. And of course, you know, try to explain that to somebody who's like, you know, I'm having fading contests and just like, what? But yeah, I think yeah, it's something. It can add a little bit of, you know, a little bit of joy to just like kind of like your daily life or whatever.
Yeah, my partner's doing a master's in creative writing right now, and she wrote a poem recently about like a fading contest. And I'm trying to see. I'm still trying to convince her to let me share it, but is a poem she wrote called Faders. And it's pretty cool to see, because she's not a denim head at all. But it's fun to see kind of her sort of interpretation of what we're interested in. So maybe
that's going to be a new slur for us. Yeah, damn faders.
Yeah, faders.
Yeah, the fades of yesteryear fade away like the leaves on the trees or something. I don't know. Get into that. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, there's just so many fun things to do in this little lifestyle. You can do, there's also like the leather patina aging contests and stuff like that. And yeah,
that's the next thing, isn't it? People are going a bit crazy for.
Oh, do you mean the stitch down patina Thunderdome?
Yeah. I see they're starting. I think they're going to be doing other goods now apart from boots. I think I saw. Adding some other.
They should definitely do wallets, I think.
Official sponsor, Wild Frontier Goods.
Everybody, yeah. I think all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's interesting, and yeah. My moods change quite often, and so one day I'll be like, yeah, fuck that stuff, like contest, but then, you think about it and you're like, oh, it's fun. I want to do it. Like, I wish I never know about this type of stuff. I'm always like kind of out of the loop, it seems. And all of a sudden people are like, all right, the contest has started and we're rolling. It's like, oh, damn, I should have, had something created for that contest and joined up. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Would you ever want to make something wearable from leather, like shirt, jacket?
Yeah, for sure.
Jockstrap.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to do like hand stitched leather shirts, hand stitched leather jackets or something like that. That would be really cool. There's a guy in Japan who does hand stitched jeans.
Wow.
And he was doing a hand stitched leather jacket or something like that. Yeah. So I mean, anything that you can, stitch with a machine can also be stitched by hand. Essentially, it's going to take a lot more time. But yeah, you could do it. So I think it would be kind of fun to just kind of work out a pattern and then, fuck it up about 100 times, and then eventually, you got yourself a wearable leathered shirt or something. I think that would be great. Yeah, for sure. Moto Leather makes a leather shirt. That's very enjoyable to wear.
And are they on Instagram as well?
Moto Leather, of course. Yeah, Moto. Yeah. They've got like 20 different accounts.
Is it just like MOTO Leather?
Yep.
Cool.
Leather things, Moto. I don't know. Moto Leather. I don't know. There's a lot. But they also I think Ilya, you saw that jacket that they made that has like that skull kind of embossed onto the back or whatever.
Yeah, they make some crazy stuff.
Yeah, just like one-off art pieces, and that thing was hand stitched together. That's
okay.
So, yes. So I would love to, have some kind of like duster made from like, a big horse hide or something like that. Just cut it out, stitch it up. It's possible for sure. it's just, God, it's so much easier just to have somebody do it for me on a machine. Make it so much better. And I would like that too.
I guess that's kind of the creative part, right? If it's not creative, if it's not like a creative inspiration that you want to go and make, then why spend the time to do it when you can have someone make it for you, and then you can keep your creative energy focused on what you're wanting to make yourself.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of what's practical, and I would love to do it, and I think you just gotta start doing it. I'll do it one day, I think. But yeah, I mean, I look at like old Western movies and like, Red Dead Redemption games, and we just like look at like movies with like settings from like 1800s or something, and you look at the clothing, and it's just like, why that guy's shirt is yellow? Like, how did he have like a yellow shirt? How is his shirt red? Like, how did he get that shirt black? Like Stephen King's Gunslinger book series, like The Man in Black, dressed in black. And he's like, well, where did he get those black clothes? Like, is he dyeing those things himself, or because like you use like black wool, I guess. But black is one of the most difficult things to naturally dye. Difficult colors to achieve. And so I think about that type of thing, and then you start to think about, well, how did they make it, and all these like kind of like bear jackets or something like that, like that jacket that Kurt Russell's wearing in what's that movie, Tarantino movie where Hateful Eight, Kurt Russell jacket, that fur jacket thing that he wears, and that thing's awesome. Yeah, you could stitch that together and kind of wear that around, like, I don't know. But
don't let Hollywood trick you too much, though, because I know like in Game of Thrones, the what do you call it, like the Black Watch, what are they called, the guys on the like Jon Snow and all those guys,
the Night Watch.
Yes, their big furry black jackets were actually made out of IKEA rugs.
Fun fact. Yeah. Well, they should have called me up. I would have made some IKEA rugs. But yeah, like yeah, so I'm fascinated by stuff like that. And you just kind of wonder, like, how did they make that? How did they make that jacket? And how did they dye that? It's so interesting. And so how can I do it, basically, like using what I have available? And yeah, I don't know. It's all inspirational. It's interesting.
I guess on that note, maybe a good place to kind of to wrap things up a bit. I'm aware it's probably pretty late over in Tokyo. But I think, yeah, this has been super cool, Mike and Noriko, to meet you both and talk to you in video, and learn more about the brand, learn about the creative process, learn about how you choose what you make, and kind of what you're making and what we might see in the future. So I'm interested to kind of see where you take things next, and I'm hoping some of our listeners choose to pick something up from you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what, tomorrow, who knows? So 6 months from now, who knows? I'm definitely wanting to do some Cordovan belts. Ilya and I, we talked about that. And Ilya and I will probably be the only ones that wear them. But that'll be our, And then Noriko and I, we were watching Sons of Anarchy and decided that we're going to start our own biker gang.
Oh, I'll join. Cool.
Interestingly, that was the inspiration for the Sons of Selvedge kind of aesthetic and name and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. We were just watching, and Noriko's like, we should start a biker gang. I'm like, yeah. We'll have to think of a name and but yeah, just kind of have like different like, like.
You already got a perfect name. For it.
Wild Frontier Club.
Yeah. Wild Frontier Gang.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We were gonna start a heavy metal band too, just for.
If you do hardcore music, Andy will probably sing for you.
I play bass.
So maybe we'll start using some more of that music that we create in some reels or something like that. But yeah, no, yeah. Just trying to constantly be in a state of curiosity and improving myself in whatever ways I can, and just finding
wild frontier of creativity.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have these stray cats and stray raccoons that are coming up to our house recently, and we're finding inspiration in writing songs about them. So.
Wild raccoons, yeah.
Totally unrelated, but I've got 4 rescue cats that we took in like 6 or 7 years ago and domesticated.
Yeah.
And they're super weird and kind of half domestic, half wild, whatever. But yeah, I've got an Instagram account that's dedicated to their life, called 4 Rescue Cats. So yeah, maybe they can be band members of your
it's not a band.
Yeah, be in your music video.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cat.
Cool. Well, I guess maybe good place to wrap up the interview there. So thank you again, Mike, and thank you again, Noriko.
Cool, man. Well, cool. Well, yeah, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it again, and thank you for spreading the word. And
well, good man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great to have you on. Thank you.